Good evening. This is Maestro with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today, we have a 3v3 on Estia Province. Our first player will be Lady Tongue, playing as the Grey Knight Brother Captain, a tanky melee hero who can walk through cover and cannot be suppressed, can increase his speed and damage resistance. Next up, it's going to be Yang Wendi, playing as the Techmarine, Space Marine ranged hero with a gun for every occasion and the ability to repair vehicles. And finally, best yet, it's going to be Pornhub, playing as Lord General. This is a Imperial Guard squad-based hero who can use defensive area of effect buffs. On the other team, we're going to start off with Demiurg, or Demiurg. I'm going to go with Demiurg, playing as yet another Techmarine. Next up, it'll be Beetnator, playing as yet another Lord General. And finally, Rept, playing as yet another Brother Captain. So we actually have a bit of a mirror matchup. This isn't a faction war or anything like that, but we have a mirror matchup in terms of heroes, with each hero on one side being mirrored on the other. Perhaps not exactly in terms of lane setups, but still. And, you know, just something that's kind of come to my mind lately. I feel like Estia Province is super common these days, and it doesn't feel like it's always been that way. Obviously, on the one hand, Estia Province is a map that actually did not come with stock Dawn of War 2 Retribution, so it was added in later. I believe it was it actually Injured who made this map? Probably could have also checked the loading screen for that little factoid. But, you know, there was definitely a day when if you asked me what were the most common 3v3 maps, I probably would have said something like either Argus Desert Gate or Calderis Refinery, but in this day and age, it actually feels like it's Estia Province. So just an interesting way that things have shifted. Perhaps people got bored of Calderis and Argus, and this kind of just became the new favorite. Meanwhile, let's actually start commentating the match. Tactical Marines right there. Pretty lucky to not lose a single model from all that. Tried to get the cap, but they were knocked over by a grenade from this Inquisitorial Stormtrooper squad, which did have their Sergeant upgrade. Does give them a grenade ability. It does explode on contact, but it is a little bit weaker than the other grenades in this game. Meanwhile, it seems like this Sentinel right here, this particular Sentinel, is gone. Before I can finish my sentence, I was going to say, feels like it's perpetually playing a dangerous game of being at less than 20% of its hit points. And there, I don't know if maybe the sniper rifle just upgraded, but it was just quickly, that last bit of health was bursted down by that shot from the sniper rifle. Meanwhile, these Tactical Marines finally lose a model. I mean, I guess they were really just trying to rely on the tankiness of the Tactical Marines, but at some point, you know, they're not invulnerable, so they will go down, trying to just tank it out against these Stormtroopers, which are obviously quite a bit weaker. There is a grenade here. Is he going to try to get out? This grenade is going to kill. No, but that puts the Techmarine very much in a position to die. Like, I'm pretty sure he can just finish him off with range fire. He doesn't even get a chance to retreat. Or maybe it was just too slow on him. Lord General right here, pretty low on health as well, but he will reinforce one of his retinue members out on the field. It doesn't obviously heal him to full because the Lord General himself is not at full health, but it is a pretty good way to sustain out on the field as Lord General, as long as you are willing to pay for it. Understood. So it does look like, oh man, we actually haven't had it. Well, okay, there must have been a cap on this at some point. Or actually, I don't think there has. 500 to 49 probably means that both teams only captured their naturals, and just one team was just slightly slower than the other. That's probably where that single point comes from. But here is going to be a nice wraparound from the Lord General, using the grenade launcher and the move ability to get in close to this squad, these guardsmen. And aside from the fact that he had 3 squads of guardsmen compared to only 2, the Flamer also gave those guardsmen a little bit of an edge there, doing area of effect damage. Meanwhile, he will find himself also having to contend with these Grey Knights right here. Strike Squad getting so low, just got focused down so much trying to get into melee. Meanwhile, Assault Marines will jump on the Purgation, and that will be Rept in full retreat right here. Some nice plays coming out of Pornhub. So what names we have from our teams, in particular on the blue team? I feel like Lady Tongue and Pornhub, I feel like those two kind of go hand in hand, or perhaps hand isn't the correct body part to put those two together. Meanwhile, Yang Wendi is only just one letter transposition away from being Wang Yendi, but, you know. Finally, we do see a double cap. It's for the red team. They were able to secure the contested victory point, so victory points starting to go down, or rather tick in their favor. Meanwhile, a Lord General is dead here. Seems like the Techmarine was eventually picked up, or whatever. And we're going to see the attempted revive by the Lord General from Pornhub, trying to revive Lady Tongue. Does get him, so that is nice, and they're both going to have to back out of there. They can't afford to tank much more damage. We even see the retreat coming out from Pornhub, so having to commit, even having to retreat just to make sure that Lady Tongue is able to get his commander back, but that could also delay the time before Pornhub might be able to push alongside Lady Tongue to take this victory point. But it looks like Lady Tongue will try on his own. I mean, it is a 1v1 in terms of armies. It does look like we might have some more skirmishing going on over here with some scouts being targeted by the interceptors, so the scouts will have to retreat out of there. Also, a generator bash going to happen from Beetnator. Beetnator is choosing to get some flamer guardsmen of his own. Not choosing to focus it on other guardsmen at the moment, though. It is just going to be used on these generators and doing a pretty decent job of it. It doesn't seem like there's been an answer to this, so I think they'll probably at least finish the generators. And at the same time, I don't know, it almost feels to me like the flamer guardsman isn't even as good as I remember. I feel like it's burning this down pretty slowly, unless, you know, that was changed. Since flamers usually make pretty short work of generators, sometimes it can be hard to respond to it. So 2.5 generators taken down by that Flamer Guardsman squad from Beetnator. And oh no, we're getting all 3 Stormtroopers getting jumped by the Assault Marines, and they're targeting the lowest one. If this is not, oh my god, that was so close. Even though there are 3 models left on that squad, truth is that squad was very, very close to getting wiped. 2 models now after finishing that sentence. All right, so it will be Rept incursioning. That's not a word. Just trying to get in here against Lady Tongue. So Lady Tongue will just retreat, feeling like he's being doubled. Even though there wasn't necessarily a whole lot more in terms of units, it was just Rept as well as the Assault Marines from Demiurg. And well, he didn't have his commander, so that could be part of it. All right. Meanwhile, Wendi. Yeah, this is Wendi, possibly going for an approach that looks like he could be trying to take the natural, but he'll find his Assault Marines getting suppressed. They should have the ability to jump at some point on this Purgation squad, but they're just trying to walk through the flames. Meanwhile, they're also getting focused down by the Chimera. Chimera does not have any guardsman units in it, though, so it's only the turret that is actually doing any damage. And these Assault Marines, they finally get into melee, but at what cost? They might even get wiped there. It's going to be so close if they don't. I think because they are Assault Marines in a power armor unit that they will just barely not get wiped, but I'm also not entirely sure what that decision-making was. Could have just jumped on them a long time ago, I'm pretty sure. Really don't see what was stopping them. Plasma guns coming out of this triple Inquisitorial Stormtroopers. I think that's actually a pretty nice response. Obviously, Plasma gun does do bonus damage against power armor units. What's also nice about these Inquisitorial Stormtroopers with plasma guns is that they get the plasma overcharge ability, or overcharge plasma ability, you know, same thing, different way. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But plasma overcharge ability is just a targeted skill shot. No, that actually is a contradiction in terms. It's a skill shot ability. It will do the damage is actually pretty light, but it also suppresses whatever infantry unit it connects with, and that's pretty big. It's almost like an aiming what's that, except instead of being targeted, it's a skill shot. But again, the uses are pretty similar. I feel like there's enough of an army here that they can walk in here and take this victory point. Otherwise, they're bleeding a lot of victory points in the process. What's going on? Where are you going, brother captain? All right, we'll go over here as to not make that look so bad. Scouts, snipers, sniper scouts will be targeting this Lord General a bit, and we still don't have anyone moving here. I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's only just now that players from the red team are even moving in here, so a huge missed opportunity by the blue team, being far too passive, perhaps afraid that there might be someone ready to answer them, but, well, now there might be, but for most of the time there actually wasn't. So on this side, we are going to see marked target put on the Purgation squad, and Stormtroopers nearly killed. In fact, they are killed. Looks like we had some other squad losses as well. There will be I believe that's a psych out grenade. That's just a grenade! Doing massive damage. I think he even killed a friendly, but still, it was pretty crazy. So it's also going to be a heavy turret equipped with an Executioner Cannon. Executioner Cannon will make very, very short work of guardsmen. And it also does do some light damage to the Chimera, but it doesn't seem to... Okay, finally it's targeting the Chimera. Okay, so the Chimera really can't deal with that unless it has some kind of anti-vehicle alongside to help it. So for now, this really needs to be another instance where the blue team needs to take this. And now it's going to be a lot harder, even just with the Devastator Marine there. Because for the moment, that turret is actually well-placed and does very well compositionally into basically Beetnator's entire army. So it's going to be a Grey Knight Dreadnought with a plasma cannon out of Rept. When you get a plasma cannon, oh my god, look at that. You get the knockback on the plasma cannon. You also get the Hurricane Bolter. I believe it's a Hurricane Bolter on the side. Yes, indeed it is. And it's actually kind of... Oh man, scouts get wiped from that, going for that back cap. The Hurricane Bolter, I mean, 51 piercing DPS, that's actually a great number for a Dreadnought. It's actually very similar to the Assault Cannon Dreadnought. I don't think it has the same range as the Assault Cannon Dreadnought, but I'm not 100% sure. But then you also have the Plasma Cannon along with it, giving that Plasma Cannon damage. Weaker than the infantry-based Plasma Cannons, but it still gives you the knockback. And when you consider that it's on a vehicle, that does make it pretty scary. Oh, Stormtroopers, he's driving right into the Stormtroopers. He's got to know the Stormtroopers are there. They're not detected. Of course, there's plenty of response to the Stormtroopers in terms of just like focusing down, so that's why it doesn't look like Pornhub is choosing to reveal himself there. Why is this not being captured? I don't understand. Okay, I mean, at least now we've got heavy turrets on both sides, so that, as well as a heavy bolter turret, which I guess makes it hard for either side to capture it. Okay. But anyway, we're going to have a fight going on right here. This is the Stormtrooper squad, but they are just getting massively focused down. And the Techmarine tried to help out there. I forget. Let's actually take a look closely. Does he have a melt gun? No, he doesn't. I was wondering if he had a melt gun. And the Chimera did get very, very low on health. But, you know, it will just be repaired to full. This is going to be a Manticore Strike. Manticore Strike, that's a rather disappointing Manticore Strike. It's one that gives away the surprise of the Manticore. Now they know full well that a Manticore is a thing and is in play. And at the same time, it got just about no value. So, what you guys doing? You gonna do something here? Alright then, Chimera will be chasing around the Tactical Marines, doing some light damage to them. They do have to be careful at the point where they could risk losing a model. Yang Wendi, my god, Yang Wendi, what are you doing? Let's get some units out on the field. I guess he's saving up for some kind of tier 3 unit, but he's got massive requisition float, plus 294 requisition in the bank. I feel like put a unit out on the field, give yourself a little bit more of a fighting force. Okay, what's this call-in going to be? Will be a drop pod or Tactical Marines. No, that's a Venerable Dreadnought. Is that from Yang Wendi? It is from Yang Wendi. That's what he was saving for this whole time. I guess just saving for the right moment to put it out on the field. That's a big Emperor's Fist knocking over like 3 different squads. One squad in particular really low on hit points. It's the Purgation squad. And there is, although the Venerable Dreadnought is taking some damage, overall the Venerable Dreadnought is doing a lot of work, even resulting in some friendly fire from the Grey Knight Dreadnought, which is just even better for it. So that Venerable Dreadnought actually getting a lot of value. I think it would be a good idea. Oh, but it's still going to be a full retreat now for Yang Wendi. But here is the support from Pornhub. Thank God. Thank God for Pornhub. Thank the Emperor, let's say. That's the correct terminology. We are seeing the reinforcements from the Chimera on these Guardian squads, really trying to keep them in there, but they're also just getting so low. More of the plasma cannon shots are coming out of the Grey Knight Dreadnought, while the Venerable Dreadnought is trying to fist down the Chimera, but the Chimera will get out alive. So finally, the Grey Knight Dreadnought, or rather, sorry, the Venerable Dreadnought will target the Grey Knight Dreadnought, and it will certainly win handily in melee. Even gets, was that splash damage to kill that? Was that, I think that was an Interceptor that I think was killed just on the splash damage, because I think that was actually targeting the Grey Knight Dreadnought. So, Techmarine from Yang Wendi, or someone, I guess Tactical Marines will look for the cap, right? Yes, there we go. Okay, then. Meanwhile, on this side, Tactical Marines from Demiurg taking, oh man, oh my god. Look at all those models they lost, and by all I mean 2, but on a Tactical Marine squad, that counts for a lot. Fanaticism used very prematurely on these Stormtroopers. Yeah, especially now would have been a way better time to use Fanaticism. So Fanaticism is an ability that comes with the Acolyte upgrade on the Stormtroopers. And that Fanaticism ability, I believe, makes the squad temporarily invulnerable, but I think it's also a very short duration. I don't think it's an easy ability to get value out of. So, finally, we are going to have it's a single cap, actually. I was going to say a double cap for the red team, but they should be getting the double cap any moment now. Purifiers out on the field for Rept, and another Dreadnought is going to be coming out for Yang Wendi. This one non-venerable, since he can't have more than one venerable. At this point, though, I mean, I feel like he might want to also get like another scout squad to support with repairs. Yes, I know he's the Techmarine. Techmarine can repair it. Can also use Blessing of the Omnissiah to repair it. But I think he should get another scout squad out anyway. So, aside from the heavy turret, we're also going to see a Lehman Russ come out on the field. That Lehman Russ looking to come over in here. Ooh, Manticore Strike on the heavy turret. I don't think kills it. No. Yeah, so it takes about 80% of its health if all 4 missiles are concentrated on it. So that by itself is not enough to dislodge the heavy turret. But if there's some push alongside with AV, I think it would be very hard for this heavy turret to continue to stay up. Because as we saw, the Manticore Strike did take about 80% of the heavy turret's health. So if there's just like one source of AV to help along with that, and the Manticore Strike is concentrated on again, the heavy turret could be dislodged. And especially if the heavy turret is not repaired, that will also result in it eventually just going down. So for now, Red Team is maintaining its control over the contested victory point. And it does look like we're going to have some kind of a back cap here by the Stormtroopers, unless they decide that they want an even better target. No, they're going to go for the back cap. I was wondering if they were going to go for the Grey Knight Dreadnought, which could have been a possibility. I'm not sure if they had enough energy to use a Melt-A-Bomb, though. Meanwhile, we're going to see something happen right here. Definitely going to see an orbital bombardment, as well as some guardsmen trying to get away in retreat. The orbital bombardment will very sadly... Oh, no. They catch some scouts. Who did that orbital bombardment come from, though? I'm not even sure. Very, very hard to tell, given that we have 4 players who could use an orbital bombardment. All right, then some Terminators out from Demiurg. Terminator's going to do, well, it's interesting. I mean, obviously, they will definitely kill Guardsman models very quickly, but the Guardsmen also have plasma guns. Meanwhile, this time, those are some models caught very, very well into that orbital bombardment. Terminators are caught in it as well. They take a fair amount of damage. One model is actually even knocked right into them, so that model, unless it can teleport out along with the rest, will go down. Fanaticism is even activated yet again. The Terminators has a squad. Will they get out of there? Okay, they have a teleport, and they're actually super lucky to still have 3 models up. This Dreadnought is so low. We're going to see Lord General attempting to revive the Techmarine, but he's at risk for going down himself. I can't tell. I think he's in retreat now. Meanwhile, 2 Dreadnoughts will be chasing after. This is a relay beacon. Well, technically, I believe it came from the Chimera, actually. Chimera, I believe, did set itself up as a base, which he might need to unset up to prevent the Chimera from being destroyed, but it doesn't look like he realizes it just yet. Lehman Russ is in quite a bit of trouble. Okay, finished off by the multi-melted Dreadnought, and now we're going to have dueling Meltas. This is the most exciting fight, but I think it will favor Yang Wendi's Yellow Dreadnought. And there it indeed it is. So that Dreadnought should also finish off. It has a lot of choices of targets, so it will finish off the Tarantula turret, and then can turn its attention toward the Chimera, which still has not yet done anything to try to get out of here. But it looks like the Venerable from Yang Wendi will go out as well, or go down as well, once Stoicism finishes. But it looks like Yang Wendi also just has Dreadnoughts on Overwatch to continue this. So a lot of deaths all around. One thing that isn't dead is this Grey Knight Dreadnought, so it's going to be level 2. Nice to see that alive. Does actually seem like the Hurricane Bolter has pretty nice range. So double cap now for the blue team, but Yang Wendi literally has nothing. Lost both his Dreadnought as well as his Venerable Dreadnought. But of course, that just means that he can get a new Venerable Dreadnought if he wants. He definitely has the red for it. I think he's just waiting for some power. So it's been kind of a silly game at times, but you know, things just be getting a little crazy out here after just the endless war. So actually, that was a decent timing of Fanaticism. I don't think they took any of the damage from the Grey Knight Dreadnought's plasma cannon, but it did still do the disruption. Grey Knight Dreadnought needs to actually be really careful here. It could actually go down. It's okay. It would be 2 shots away from going down, so it's not going to go down. Definitely out of the heavy turret's range at this time. So we're going to have Stormtroopers moving back in. I think they're going to do very well against these Tactical Marines. This is a missile launcher tac squad, dropping 3 models now from the plasma guns on those Stormtroopers. Those Tactical Marines they absolutely cannot just face down the Stormtroopers like that. So some nice disruption with the Cyclone missile launcher out of the Terminators. Another use of Fanaticism. And the Terminator's doing quite a bit better against the Stormtroopers than the Tactical Marines are, but at some point I feel like they are going to get overwhelmed here. Here's some support in the form of a Land Raider Crusader. Oh my god, we've got dueling Land Raider Crusaders. But at the moment, it's the blue team that is maintaining control of the contested victory point. Meanwhile, oh no! Stormtroopers were sniffed out, and unfortunately they will also be smoked out, which I don't know if that actually makes sense, but either way, they are gone. Trying to find some kind of target in the back. This is 2 heavy turrets out of Pornhub. Some rather explicit action going on right here from him. And we're going to see yet another double Dreadnought play out of Yang Wendi, trying to chase down this Land Raider Crusader from Rept. We do have the Venerable Dreadnought just trying to fist it. And it's not doing a great job, but it's not doing a terrible job. Meanwhile, Venerable Dreadnought now going to start taking damage from the Leman Russ. So this actually puts the Venerable Dreadnought in a little bit of a tough position. He realizes it, so he's starting to get out of there, even uses the charge and even knocks down his own allied units in the process of getting that charge. And this is going to be a squad from Pornhub just going to waste. At this point, though, I think the other Venerable Dreadnought is probably done, but here is some support coming over from Lady Tongue. Lady Tongue supporting Pornhub, as well as Yang Wendi, so that okay, the Dreadnought stays alive, and it's actually the Leman Russ to go down. You know, all these squads taking a huge amount of fire, while it also looks like some Paladins called in by Lady Tongue will be working on the Land Raider Crusader from Rept. Rept is himself floating a huge amount of resources, could get something himself. And here's another Dreadnought out on the field. There's going to be another Venerable, but this time it's from Demiurg. And if the Razorback does not move out here, it might just be fisted to death by this Venerable Dreadnought, which I think will indeed be the case. It's just not being microed. And that's it. That's the end of the Razorback. Oh, but here's the Manscore Strike. Let's see how much damage it can do. Can it I don't think it finishes off the Land Raider, but it does certainly do quite a bit of damage to it. And I swear, oh, that is an orbital bombardment. This puts the Land Raider in a really bad position. It's trying to drive away, but I don't think it makes it out. Does it? Just barely makes it out. So close to what is the Brother Captain doing all the way here? Is he trying to finish off a Land Raider all the way by himself? Instead, he does get killed by the Venerable Dreadnought. Okay, some Paladins will come out for Rept this time. Red team rather low on units at the moment. Many of their players having lost a lot without having replaced much yet, are looking a little thin. Lady Tongue and Pornhub, the deadly duo, having a little bit better unit preservation, especially Lady Tongue with those triple Stormtroopers, which have been alive the whole game. One of the few units that I can say that I know for sure have been alive the whole game. And, of course, as soon as I say that, I'm pretty sure he just lost one. What's going on here? A rocket run. Rocket Run will be knocking down a few units. Doesn't seem like the Rocket Run gets too much value. Oh, but it knocks forward. It knocks forward this Paladin model. And I can't even target the Paladin model because it's being overlapped by the Venerable Dreadnought. But I think that actually was a wipe on the Paladin from Lady Tongue. Meanwhile, some Paladins from Rept are coming out here, and they're going to try to make short work of this Baneblade. Can they do it? We're going to see mark target. Oh no, some friendly fire from the Dreadnought. Dreadnought has also been out here for a while. And that will be the end of the Land Raider Crusader from Rept. So blue team obviously had that questionable deficit at the beginning where it seemed like they were just not bothering to capture the contested victory point, but they have turned things around. They are now in the lead. It's 307 victory points to 182. Meanwhile, Venerable Dreadnought will just be pounding, fisting this Grey Knight Dreadnought. But it seems like it will possibly be for naught, as it does turn out that he will not be able to finish off the Grey Knight Dreadnought, and indeed he himself will be finished off as well. Meanwhile, the Paladins, if anything, Paladins really need to stop focusing the Venerable and see if they can threaten the Baneblade. No, the Baneblade is gone. Las Cannon will absolutely wind up for another shot, so that's yet another super unit down. Librarian coming in here trying to tie up the Las Cannon, but making it just a bit too late. He might bleed a few models for his troubles, but, you know, it's nothing compared to the loss of a Baneblade. So Demiurg moving up with the Venerable Dreadnought, looking for some more fist action, but he will not be able to really get close without taking too much damage and risk getting killed entirely. Down to almost about half of his hit points, especially taking damage from that heavy turret. Is he still getting shot by the heavy turret? Yes, he's still getting shot by the heavy turret. It's not being moved back yet, and now there's a Manticore Strike as well, but I think the Venerable will make it out of here alive. Tactical Marines moving out. Where are they going? Are they trying to get in the garrison? Oh no, they're taking damage from the heavy turret. They're being equipped with a missile launcher. Unfortunately, that means they won't do well against those stormtroopers. Here is a Lord General with a refractor field, just trying to take the victory points back. I think, at the very least, he'll get the decap. That stalls out the victory point counter, but the Tactical Marines need to get out of here. Oh my god, that grenade actually being to pretty good use, and the Tactical Marines get wiped. Meanwhile, some big damage going in onto the stormtroopers. That'll be a force barrier. Stop anyone from the blue team from recapping. Just kidding, I meant the red team. Librarian himself, though, does need to be extremely careful, and so do these guardsmen. They will get killed thanks to that marked target put on them. So some upgrades from our commanders. We are going to see the Blessed Aegis out of the Brother Captain. It does give him his own refractor field, even if that's not the technical name for it, and this should be another dead Dreadnought. This one going to be for Demiurg. Yes, indeed, it is done. Stoicism has been activated. So, of course, Stoicism, I'm sure most of you know at this point, but Stoicism is an ability that activates for the Venerable Dreadnought at the point at which it takes fatal damage. At the point that it takes fatal damage, you can see that it activated Stoicism by that big energy shield. It will continue to fight for a time, but eventually it will just die. So there's still potential for a Venerable Dreadnought to get some value after Stoicism is activated, but it does also mean that the Dreadnought will die for sure. All right, looks like the red team even took the time to decap the blue team's natural. So the blue team will get that back, and we see another Baneblade out of Pornhub. Meanwhile, we're going to see some Grey Knight Terminators charging in on the Land Raider Crusader. I believe they do have a silencer. Yes, they do have a silencer, so they are doing some light damage when they are in ranged. And I guess they technically do some light damage in melee as well, but it's really about the Paladins and the damage they put on it. If I were the Paladins, though, I would say probably time to turn around. Okay, no. Las Cannon looks like will finish off the heavy weapon team, while the Paladins continue to put pressure on the Land Raider Crusader. I would say at this point, I would personally like to see them focused on the heavy turret, because it's a guaranteed kill on the heavy turret if the Paladins just turn on them right now. Whereas I'm not sure if they can get the Land Raider Crusader, because there could be support coming out for it. It could continue to move back, even though it's not. Even though it's literally just tanking the damage. Meanwhile, for the Emperor, that will be a Terminator taking out a Brother Captain. Meanwhile, Paladin's continuing to chase into base, seeing if they can finish off this Land-Rated Crusader. And you know what? In spite of, you know, what I said earlier, they might be able to do it, but repairs are going to come in from the Stormtroopers, and we see another set of Paladins who are much, much healthier, turning on them, even teleporting to try to get them. But if we have teleport... Come on, the Paladin should at least get the man score. Get the man score. Get the man score. I don't even care if he died at this point. Get the man score. Doesn't look like they will do that. Concerned very much about their own well-being. So they will just be getting out of there, because they could 100% get the man score. Unless, well, maybe not 100. There's a chance that someone moves it back. Oh, no. Well, I'm trying to talk about a man score that's not even being shot at. Another Baneblade goes down. Pornhub must be the alias of General Vance Stubbs, or maybe just his favorite website. And another heavy turret will be placed down. He needs to get off Pornhub and start commanding his troops a little bit better. Make sure that we don't see a third Baneblade going down. All right, then. Here's some approach by Yang Wendi. It's not just Yang Wendi, though. Lady Tongue is with him. They are on the blue team, so obviously they're not going for the victory points. Maybe just going to reinforce this position. And at this time, the red team is actually running out of time. Part of that, though, is that they lost their natural victory point, so they will need to get that back. What just happened? It seemed like they stopped capping, so even less time for them. We're going to see... Okay, Techmarine is actually just going for a revive. And, well, there are double autocannon heavy weapon teams right here. I was wondering if we would just see, like, a unit start capturing this. The Paladins could actually do it. They could just start capturing this if they wanted to, but I don't know. Maybe they're just being cautious. Of course, the Land Raider Crusader would actually be in a huge amount of trouble if it did try to push in there. But the heavy weapon teams will move back. I'm actually not sure I like that. Why are they getting out of there? I guess maybe to defend against this, to defend against a possible flank, but then that just opens the way for the Paladins to move in, which is exactly what they do, as well as the rest of the army coming from this side. I mean, I guess at some point they knew they were going to get flanked. So they definitely lose that. Las Cannon heavy weapon team is also in quite a bit of trouble. Oh, no, it wasn't double autocannon. It was one autocannon, one heavy weapon, or one las cannon. Meanwhile, this Leman Russ now potentially in trouble. It did take a melt-a-bomb, but it actually doesn't look like there's much else to threaten it. However, oh, Paladins from Rept actually over here. They're denying the capture. They're denying the capture to the blue team. So that's at least a nice stalling tactic. But, you know, at what cost for them? They're going for the Land Raider Crusader yet again. I feel like the better play is going for these heavy turrets because he can kill the heavy turrets. Meanwhile, so much is going on. There are fights going on in multiple locations. Guardsmen taking a huge amount of damage from the Predator as well as the Leman Russ. There's still a guard. No, this is a librarian back here. I don't think he makes it out here alive. I think this is a librarian that has been forgotten about, and I think he will just get wiped. It will be very impressive if he does make it out alive. Not a chance. So we are going to see the brother captain. Yeah, he's going to finish this cap, I'm pretty sure. I don't think there's anything that stops him from finishing this cap at this point. He hasn't taken enough damage just yet. He even activates the Blessed Aegis, or rather just the Aegis. Also has that Unending Purge. Didn't actually take a look at many of the upgrades for other commanders, but oh my god, so much is happening right here. We have some Paladins right here, apparently sighting for an orbital bombardment. Will they themselves get caught? Yes, one Paladin does actually get caught for it. Caught by it. That is also another orbital bombardment coming out. So at this time, blue team will push in. Oh no, this is still actually a blue favored cap. So finally, red team will manage to get the decap. The contested victory point is not in possession of anyone, but does look like it might be picked up for the red team by these Grey Knight Terminators. Executioner Cannon Leman Russ trying to finish off these Paladins, but they are able to finish off the Predator instead before that is able to happen. Meanwhile, las cannon shots going in from right here. Onto what, though? Oh, I guess onto this Land Raider Crusader. And that will go down as well. So a lot of super units being killed. If anything, the heavy turrets are having more survivability. But, you know, that's part of why we see the heavy weapon team just shooting, even if it's just attacking ground. Might even just be attacking ground at a range where the heavy turret is... Actually, the heavy turret has such massive range. But I don't think the heavy turret has vision on the heavy weapon team. It's not still attacking, so maybe it wasn't attacking ground. Maybe it's just right on the edge of its firing arc, and it did have sight for some time. You know, if I am Beetnator, I would try to attack ground, see if I could actually finish off this heavy turret right from where it is, because now it will just be repaired up. Here is going to be a Manticore Strike. Yep, a Manticore Strike doing some damage to the Land Raider Redeemer, scaring it off a bit, and it will force out some repairs. But the blue team does have a single cap at the moment, because we did see a back cap by this sneaky brother captain from Rept. Unfortunately sneaky, but not smart enough to get out of there alive before he was killed. And that's going to be a position where Rept, his team really has almost no chance of getting that revive, so it will just have to be a buyback from him, and he's really, really low on requisition. So, natural victory point for the red team will be recapped, and this will be by Rept yet again. Small armies for many players at this time. Lots of losses back and forth, a lot of rebuilding and regrouping at this time, so not a whole lot happening. Meanwhile, we are going to see the brother captain. He will start working on the cap. He does have Blessed Aegis energy, should be gone just about now, so now he will start taking full-on health damage. He will get the decap, but he might receive enough damage pressure before he can actually finish the full cap, and he will decide to retreat and get out of there before he can get the full cap, instead of risking dying entirely. So here's going to be some back capping from a squad of Purifiers. They will start that back cap as these guardsmen move out of there. Level 4 guardsmen, by the way, so these have been probably alive since the whole game. Now they're just going to sit and have a chat about the Emperor instead of doing their jobs, and this is pretty unfortunate. They could at least get a decap, but let's take a look and see what's happening over here. All right, Terminators are going for the Las Cannon Heavy Weapon team. The Las Cannon Heavy Weapon team is so low on hit points. The Paladins will teleport in as well, and let's see if they can finish off yet another Land Raider. I think I've been mixing up my Land Raiders. Of course, we've been having some... Oh, no, it was just screwed. He was trying to drive it out of there, but it was just perfectly path blocked by all those Terminators and Paladins that they could not get it out of there. There definitely have been some Crusaders in this game, but there definitely have also been times when I think I haven't been looking closely enough to see whether a Land Raider is a Crusader or a Redeemer. I kind of forgot about our Space Marine players here in this game in favor of our Grey Knight players or Ordo Malleus players. Okay, red team is now really on a clock. They have literally seconds to get a cap from someone, or at least a decap, to keep this game going. It will be a Techmarine equipped with the Refractor Field as the Leman Russ moves in, and I think with that they should finally get rid of one of the heavy turrets. Okay, they do manage to get the decap before the Manticore Strike, since the Refractor Field from the Techmarine, oh no, certainly not going to protect him from all that. I don't think it protects him from knockback. Ogren's coming in though, doing a number on these Stormtroopers. This Stormtrooper squad, oh no, that was a Stormtrooper squad that I'm pretty sure was alive since the beginning of the game, finally falls in the line of duty. As we're going to see the Paladins, they're committing, teleporting in, going for this Leman Russ, but they're going to get plasma cannon shots on them. And that should be the end of those Paladins. Red team looking for another cap, and the Leman Russ is not even dead either. So that's the end of the Paladins, I believe, unless I missed them somewhere. Terminators will also go down, but there will be an orbital bombardment. Who gets caught in this? Okay, it will be some Assault Marines caught into it. Is the Leman Russ driven out of there? Oh, deaths on all sides. Lady Tongue now has almost no army. Red team is also in a position where they do have a double cap, but the brother captain from Lady Tongue here is going to try to cheese them out with the Holy Armor of Titan. Instead, he's going to get knocked back. There are double plasma cannons protecting that point, which can knock over even a brother captain. I don't know if he can cheese them out even with the Holy Armor of Titan. It does grant the invulnerability, but I don't think it gives immunity to knockback, and let's see if that's the case. No, it indeed does not. Meanwhile, it does look like one squad of heavy weapon devastators, Devastator plasma, will get forced off, while the brother captain just finds himself continually being knocked back. Eventually, we will see suppression going on the Devastators by this Inquisitorial Stormtrooper squad, and they will also tie up the Stormtroopers, or rather the Devastators. This is now a use of fanaticism. It's only to buy time for this brother captain. these Terminators need to turn and shoot the Brother Captain so quickly, because now we might have just run out of time for the red team. That might be it. I think it is. I think the blue team do finally take this game. That was actually a very, very nice last play by Lady Tongue with the use of the Stormtroopers to buy the Brother Captain time to get that cap, and indeed it will be the win for the blue team. Crazy game at the end, sometimes also a little bit of a questionable game, but you know, we've got players of all skill levels, and this game is just crazy, and it still provides for good viewing entertainment. So I do hope you enjoyed it, and have a good night.